What if the next stage of this conflict doesn't happen in the sky, but at sea, in a narrow waterway that powers the entire world? Tonight, tensions in the Middle East are no longer just about missile strikes. Behind the explosions, urgent diplomacy is unfolding, and global markets are watching every move. As drone attacks and missile exchanges ripple across the Gulf, UAE President Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan held a critical phone call with Russian President Vladimir Putin. According to Abu Dhabi, both leaders discussed what they called blatant Iranian attacks targeting the UAE and several Arab states. The message from both sides was clear: stop the escalation before the region slips into a wider war. The call highlights how rapidly diplomacy is moving behind the scenes. Gulf states now face direct security threats, and leaders are racing to prevent a conflict that could spiral beyond control. At the same time, Moscow is trying to position itself as a stabilizing power. Russian President Vladimir Putin strongly condemned the killing of Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, calling it a violation of international norms and warning that the Middle East is being pushed toward chaos. Khamenei's death marks a massive geopolitical shift and another blow to Russian influence after major losses in Syria and Venezuela. Despite a long partnership between Moscow and Tehran, analysts say Iran has received little real military support from Russia during its biggest crisis in decades. The two countries may share a strategic partnership, but one detail stands out: the agreement contains no mutual defense clause. In other words, Russia is not required to step into the war, and now the conflict is expanding toward one of the most dangerous flashpoints on Earth, the Strait of Hormuz. Iran's Revolutionary Guard Navy has reportedly warned that no vessels are permitted to cross the strait, signaling what could become a de facto shutdown of a route carrying more than 20% of the world's oil supply. This is not just another waterway. The Strait of Hormuz is the energy lifeline of the global economy. Every day, millions of barrels of oil and huge volumes of natural gas pass through this narrow corridor between Iran and Oman. If shipping stops, even briefly, the impact could hit everywhere: fuel prices, inflation, stock markets, and supply chains around the world. More than 80% of the energy moving through Hormuz goes to Asian markets. China alone relies heavily on this route for Iranian oil. While countries like Saudi Arabia and the UAE have alternative pipelines, experts warn they can only handle a fraction of normal volume. And history shows how dangerous this area can become. During the Iran-Iraq tanker war in the 1980s, hundreds of ships were damaged. In recent years, ship seizures and military standoffs have once again increased, turning the strait into a constant flashpoint. Now, what began as missile exchanges may be transforming into a maritime crisis with global consequences. If Hormuz closes, the shockwaves won't stay in the Gulf. They'll reach fuel pumps, factories, and households around the world almost instantly. The big question tonight: are world leaders moving fast enough to contain the crisis before the global economy feels the impact? Stay with us for more updates as this story develops. And if you found this breakdown useful, make sure to like, subscribe, and follow for daily global news updates.